Yeah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. All praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham, Rakakodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well, to the elder apostles in Connecticut, to the bishops, the priests, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom, to the Israelite foreigners whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold, Shalom, to you sisters, you Akwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Aram Yahawada with the lesson. Yeah, so this is the African Diaspora News Channel speaking on Kamala Harris, because they're having this presidential race coming up soon. So so there's a few things you might want to know about someone you're going to vote about, and there's things and talks that's in the works. So they're you have to I guess you have to expose these things, and they're just explaining how she's been exposed on so many levels or so many fronts, right? So go ahead.
And she did the interview, okay? Now let's pick up what we want to start off at. Very interesting part to start off on, right? And we got some things to talk about. So let's go on and start here.
There's a time when voters, especially here in Pennsylvania, are inundated with commercials and ads. They just want it to stop because it's every commercial. But many of them add noise, but a few of them seem to break through. This particular one from the Trump campaign has gotten a lot of attention.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Surgery. For prisoners. Every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
So, are you still in support of using taxpayer dollars to help prison inmates or detained illegal aliens to transition to another gender?
I will follow the law, and it's a law that Donald Trump actually followed. You're probably familiar with, now it's a public...
I don't know if you know, she just avoided the question. If you paid attention, she completely avoided the question, but let's keep going.
Report that under Donald Trump's administration, these surgeries were available on a medical necessity basis to people in the federal prison system. And I think, frankly, that ad from the...
But a sex change is not necessary. That's not a necessity, right?
Trump campaign is a little bit of like throwing, stones when you're living in a glass house.
The Trump aides say that he never advocated for that prison policy and no gender transition surgeries
you got to take
during
responsible for what happened in your administration.
Yeah, no surgeries happened in his presidency.
It's in black and white.
Would you still advocate for using taxpayer dollars for gender reassignment
I will
surgeries?
follow the law, just as I think Donald Trump would say he did.
You would have a say as president.
Like I said, I think it's real. He spent $20 million on those ads, trying to create a sense of fear in the voters, because he actually has no plan in this election that is about focusing on the needs of the American people. Whereas, at $20 million on that ad, on an issue that, as it relates to the biggest issues that affect the American people, is really quite remote. And again, his policy was no different. Look at where we are, though. $1,000 to $50,000.
We've heard a lot of transition surgeries
you got to take
during
responsible for what happened in your administration.
Yeah, no surgeries happened in this presidency.
It's in black and white.
Would you still...
Yeah, so this Leviticus 18:21. Thus shall not let any of the seed pass through the fire to Molech, right? Which goes into being what do you call it? Molech is basically going to sacrifice the children, right? And Harris is a advocate for for abortions, right? So this is basically going into that, because she's an advocate for abortions, right? Neither shall thus profane the name of thy power. I am Yahweh, right? These things that they're doing, right? Because these are mostly Israelite children that they're trying to do it to. You so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, right? That's most ultimately what was Margaret Thatcher. She set up, Planned Parenthood, yeah, right, for the murdering of your children, right? Planned Parenthood. It's like you. I'm saying it right, but okay. So in that, that's basically what that's likened to, giving your children over to Molech. Neither shall thus profane the name of thy power, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Thus shall not lie with mankind as with womankind. It is an abomination. And she also is an advocate for the LGBTQ community, right? And this is what the Lord said, that it's an abomination unto you, right? Those two things are completely opposite of the Most High, man. And this you have to think about, who are you trying to make your so-called president, which voting really don't matter. Whoever's over it, it really don't matter who's there. But I mean, I don't even know how to say it. I guess if it was real, or I guess if it's either which way, they're gonna pick someone, and it's just gonna suit out the agenda of the elite, ultimately, right? The time of Jacob's trouble, right, is fastly approaching. That's ultimately what it is. But we, as men of the Lord, we're showing you through a biblical lens, right? Yeah. So this is Leviticus chapter 20, verse 1. It says, "And Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, spake unto Moses, saying, again, thus shalt say to the children of Israel, whosoever he be of the sons, really, of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourned in Israel," right? Travelers, right? Travel, you sojourn, you do if things, you happen to travel, and you basically come back amongst your people, right? That's ultimately what that is, right? It's not talking about perfect, like strangers, of another nation that has no lineage. It's a stranger who is of the lineage of the Israelites, right? That giveth any of his seed unto Molech, right? Going into, Planned Parenthood or whatever fashion or style you commit to do, child sacrifice or abortions, right? Because ultimately an abortion is definitely a child sacrifice, whether you accept it, believe it or not, right? He shall surely be put to death. The people of the land shall stone him with stones, right? So, or her, right? Because, right, this is all inclusive, him, her, right? Or the man or woman committing this child sacrifice, or these, which the modern day would be called, abortion, right? The Lord ain't with it, right? It's a penalty unto death, right? Yeah, same chapter, just scrolling all the way down from 1 down to verse 13, right? And it's Leviticus 20 and 13. If a man also lieth with mankind as he lieth with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination, they shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. And see, ultimately, the Lord ain't dealing with no LGBT community type things, right? Samoism, right? The Lord is not with it. It's the opposite of what your Democratic Party is hands down with, or with even your Republican Party that's with, right? Just this system in itself is with it, right? Whether Democrat or Republican, they're with the Moism. They with the happy rainbow people, when really technically the rainbow is meant to be a righteous thing. It was set up. The Lord gave that as a covenant unto Noah, right? Had nothing to do with two men, right? Which the Lord obviously showing you that he's displeased with it unto the point of death, man, right? Yeah. So this is Deuteronomy chapter 17 verse 15, and thus shall in any wise set him a king. Thus shall in any wise set him a king over thee, whom Yahweh thy power shall choose. So he said that this is basically, part of the law, right? Deuteronomy, the second book of the law. So he's saying, the Lord said, look, if you ever get a king set over you, or to rule over you, that king is gonna be chosen of the Most High. It's not just gonna be some random person, popping up out of nowhere. You don't know who they are. You don't know their politics. You don't know what they stand for, and they just start popping off some stuff. Like, yeah, we're here. We're here for the common people, and we're here to get you to because it's hard for you to buy groceries, and under this person's administration, you couldn't buy food. But technically we're living under your administration, though you're the vice president, and it's hard. We're paying twice as much for food under your administration, right, than we did with the previous administration. So, I don't know how people are letting that slide by, and not addressing that, But hey, this is what the Lord said. He has to be chosen. Thus shall in any wise set him king over thee, whom Yahweh thy power, shall choose, right? So Yahweh Basham Yahweh Shai, right? Yahweh through his son, Yahweh Shai, will choose who we're supposed to have over us, right? As the Israelites, that's how it's meant to be. But of course, we're in our captivity, in the land of our captivity. So a lot of other things happen, right? And the things that make you think that, your opinion or your vote counts and all this other nonsense, right? So under gross darkness, you think your vote counts, right? But I'm going to give it to you from a biblical perspective. One, from among your brethren, see? And if you did put a king, vote for somebody, or you decided to put somebody, it would have to be one that the Lord chose, and then that one that the Lord chose, it would be from amongst your brethren, from amongst thy brethren, right, which would be an Israelite, right? So, shall thus set king over thee, right? So what your so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, you are Israelites. So that's who's supposed to technically be over you, one of your own brethren. But under this thing, we're in captivity. Our enemy is over us, right? So you can't set your brother as king over you, because you're in the land of your captivity. And so thus may it's not set a stranger sin. That's an actual stranger, not talking about an Israelite stranger that's a sojourner, right? That's from amongst your brethren, one that has the same lineage as you, right? Because he's telling you you cannot do this, right? And obviously it was saying that even the stranger in the other verse was saying that stranger cannot give their seed over to Molech either. Why? Because they're Israelites, right? So this stranger saying you cannot set this stranger or a heathen or some other nation over you, which voting allows you to set up a king over you that's not of your people, right? So ultimately that's what this voting thing is. So really we shouldn't even be voting, but over thee, which is not thy brother. So you're not supposed to set anyone over you that's not of your brother, of your lineage, right? Let alone a woman, right? Because this is talking about brother, right? Unless it's one of your brethren, not a woman, right? So that's another thing too. It's another aspect that you have to look at it. Since the Lord will never set a woman over you to rule over you, right? Yeah, so this is Ecclesiasticus chapter 12, verse 10. It says, never trust thine enemy, right? So this system, right? The Lord said that you have been sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you, man. Right? You so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, you were sold unto your enemies, man. Whether you know it, accept it or not, believe it or not, right? You were on those boats during the transatlantic slave trade, so-called Mexican man, so-called Native American man, right? You so-called Puerto Ricans, right? Just because your captors came speaking Spanish or Portuguese or some other language, right, besides English, don't mean you didn't get put on slave ships also, right? Because it was the power of the Lord, and you cannot escape what the Lord says that's going to happen to you, right? Which is a good thing if you could accept it and understand it. It's your receipt that tells you, right, your proof that you were chosen, you were bought with a price by the blood of Yahushua, and that He's coming to redeem you, right? Because what you were bought and sold in a place, in a land, in a place that your enemy is going to have possession over you, and which the Lord said that which says no man shall redeem, right? And the Lord is coming to redeem, right? Yahushua, His blood was shed for the elect who are scattered around the earth, but the main place, the bulk of the Israelites are here in Babylon the Great, which is America, right? So it says, never trust thy enemy, for like as iron rusteth, right? 'Cause iron will rust, no matter how brand new, how much you could steam it and put this. It's like this prime they put over it. It's a rust preventive prime, but even with that, it kind of helps it, but rust is still going to rust regardless. Like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness, right? And so whether if Trump get in, Kamala get in, whoever so-called becomes the president, hey, their wickedness will show eventually, and you're gonna see it, because we're gonna come into times of the highest display of Esau's anger, right? You're gonna know that there was a prophet among you. We're gonna tell you, right? You're gonna know that there's a prophet among you, since we've been teaching, right, and breaking down the scriptures correctly, telling you that this man is your enemy, right? It says, though he humble himself, right? Hey, I need your votes. I'm coming. I'm finna come for the disenfranchised. We need to disenfranchise to receive that, the mark, the charagma, the karax, the engrapho, right? Similar to the CV19, right? Something's gonna happen, and they're gonna say that they're looking for to help you, right? They're gonna vote me in, and I'll do something for you. You know what I mean? I'm the best candidate, right? Right? Because I don't know. They make all these promises. They come humbling themselves, basically, in a sense, and go crouching, yet take good heed, right? So pay attention, man, right? Look at what's going on. How many presidents have made promises and never kept them? How many people have ever said they were going to help out the so-called black, so-called Hispanic, so-called Native American community? Right? Obama did some Dream Act thing, but how much did that really help you? Right? A few got a chance to stay, but the bulk of people, they had to leave. But he gathered up a good chunk of so-called Mexicans, so-called what do they call it? Just so-called illegal aliens, should I say? And made them partakers of that Dream Act, and it's a great bulk of people. So these people are going around saying, "No, Obama was great. He helped me. If it wasn't for Obama, I don't know where I'll be." And So you got people. There are people saying he helped them, but the great majority, right, can say, "Hey, that dude never helped us. He sent us back home." Right? So this it's all a deception, right? You help out people to a certain degree or a certain amount of people, so it can look like or seem like, then when they so-called get these polls of these people who say all these great things. No, you went to a pretty much a controlled environment, and then you did your polls, you did your answers to say, "Oh yeah, Obama was great. This person was great," or however they do it, right? Just give an example. That's all I was doing right there. Yet, take good heed and beware of him or her, right, at this point, and thus shall be unto him or her as if thus hast wiped a looking glass, right? So you're wiping it. It's like foggy, it's dirty, and you can't quite see to the other side. So when you keep cleaning, you keep wiping it down, and as you wiping it down, like almost like, well, it's using a glass, but these days people got glasses, right? You need your glasses to see, so you wipe it. You put your glasses on. It's still kind of something on it. It's where it's smeared, so it's like the thing is how do you call it? It's foggy or whatever, however you want to say. And so you got to keep wiping it, right? And thus shall know that the rusts have not altogether been wiped away. So you're gonna put it back on. Oh shit, it ain't all wiped away. And wipe it, keep wiping it again. You know what I mean? Until you clean it, right? So you can see what the hell is going on. But if you don't know what's going on, you can't see. You know what I'm saying? The Lord says, set him not by thee, right? Or her, right? This system, these presidents, these things that you think is so near and so dear to you, right? This system, lest when he overthrow thee, right? Which that's what he did to the Native Americans, right? He overthrew them. He overthrew us in Europe, which is the same thing we did for them in Europe. We taught them how to, and they came out of Caucasus Mountains in Europe when we were ruling Europe, what they call the Dark Ages, or what they call the the Dark Ages or the Middle Ages. Sometimes they call it medieval times, right? They call it the medieval times or whatever. But really, that was the time we ruled for 1,000 years, right? But when they came out of the caves, we did this pretty much the same thing that that Gad and Ephraim and all them, did to them, and Issachar and all that. They were all messed up and all that other stuff. So, we helped them learn how to brush their teeth, clean their bodies, so now they wouldn't dying of these freaking diseases that they brought out of the mountains with them. Really was trying to help them so they didn't kill us. You know what I mean? Bringing their diseases on to us. So we like, hey, no, hell no, y'all, our children sick and people are elderly dropping dead. No, here, let me show you. Wash them up, show them how to brush their teeth, show them how to comb their hair, show them how to do some things, take care of themselves. But in the midst of all that, they use that to what? Right? To overthrow thee, he shall stand up in thy place. So what? Now they're ruling over Europe, right? They're ruling over, basically all over the world. Parts of, pretty much the whole world. West Africa, South Africa, right? Just all over the world, man. Australia, Hong Kong, right? All of Canada, America, Mexico, Central America, Brazil, Cuba, Puerto Rico, Colombia. They're pretty much ruling the whole world, right? They even got some Japanese looking Edomites that's ruling in Japan. Some Japanese or some Chinese looking Edomites that in China that's over there making rules, doing things, right? Then mixed this and got up in there, right? Some African looking Edomites that's ruling in Africa. You know what I'm saying? Just because they look so-called black don't mean that they are. Their bloodline still goes back to Esau, right? Just like this lady Kamala Harris, like she looks like a so-called, like she could be a Jake woman, like an Israelite woman, but really her bloodline goes back to something else. Or even if it don't, she has that mentality that she's willing to use her appeal over you, right? So that way they can overthrow thee, and stand up in thy place. Neither let him or her sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat, right? That's what they did, man. That's ultimately what it was, man. We were ruling in the Dark Ages, right? We're really ruling in what they call the medieval times, right? We're ruling for 1,000 years, right? But they came and took our, hey, they're ruling the world now, right? Giving you some BS about, hey, I want to be your next president and Babylon the Great, right? In the place of confusion, right? Somehow they're going to make everything, make America great again. Somehow they're going to do some things so you could buy more groceries. You know what I'm saying? And all this other madness that they want to spew out. And thus, at the last, he shall stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thus, at the last, there you go, remember my words. So you're gonna, hey, unless at some point in time you remember, wait a minute, man, this motherfucker is the devil. It's lock you for that, but hey, that's what it is, man. This guy is the devil. You're gonna remember at the last and be what? Pricked therewith, right? It's gonna be too late. You're gonna be like, oh, wait a minute, no, I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to. Yeah, you already voted for him. You've already did all this other thing. You already put a lot of trust in this thing. You hoped and you hoped, right? For yeah. So this is Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 6. My people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray, right? And which our leaders have told us BS things like to assimilate with the so-called self-proclaimed white man, right? To assimilate with them. Everything's going to be good if we join hand in hand with them, right? Which it hasn't. It's been the worst since we joined hand in hand with them, right? Since now we can go to these so-called integrated public schools, which are not so integrated, right? Because when you finally realize when you go there, right, especially if you're in the inner cities, it ain't nothing but so-called black, Hispanic, and maybe a few native, so-called Native Americans there. And if there are any so-called white children, they end up the ones that's got the short end of the stick, and they're just the poor white trash, so to speak, right? That's why they're at that school, right? Because the ones who can afford it, they're sending their kids to good schools, teaching them things, teaching them about business, teaching them about all sorts of stocks and bonds, and and you'd be lucky to even taught how to balance a checkbook in a so-called inner city school, a public school where they have Jake. Let alone there's more impressive things in life that you're supposed to learn, but they're withholding what do you call it, school funding for all sorts of things, right? Books, music, arts, poetry. You know what I mean? They're setting you back. You're not here to excel, right? Right? You got 5-year-old, 10-year-old books, outdated books, and this is thing that's supposed to set you up so you can learn how to be someone in society, right? This is the thing that they have, So they have misled us, tell us to vote. Yeah, well, you can't vote for someone who's not of your own brethren, and not to mention this is not our land. This is not our rest, right? To cause them to go astray, right? And that's to go astray, man. That's sin against the Most High Yahweh Bashim Shai, to vote for someone who's not of your brethren, to put them over you as a king, and basically a president is a king. Right? And then she becomes she'll be like a woman king. She'll be the woman king, and that's really off. That's a no-no, right? According to Yahweh Bashim Shai, a woman should not assert authority over a man. She would have the highest office in the land to assert. Basically, it will mean she can assert authority over every man. Right? Not just she's a judge, which a woman shouldn't be, or a police officer, which a woman should not be, right? Now she's just talking about being commander-in-chief, man. That is crazy. They have turned them away on the mountains, right? So different governments, right? Even different captivities that we lived under, right? They would try to convince us to just do what the heathens tell us to do. Just go ahead and like in the time of Daniel, when they did the I guess they devised a plot against Daniel, that whenever they blow these instruments, that everybody's supposed to bow and praise this, you know, this statue, that which the statue represent all the governments that were ever going to rule upon earth, right? Symbolic. But the dude made it a actual literal statue, which it was just meant to be just a dream to give a you know, a understanding of what was going to happen, as far as so it could be written in the Bible. But this guy actually basically made this actual statue and wanted everybody to bow down to it. But Daniel was not going to bow down to it. Neither are the elect, man. The elect is not going to bow down to this thing, you know. And you know, according to this, you know, this is what a lot of our ancestors, they bow down to that, man. When they played the instruments, a lot of our they bow down, but Daniel didn't. Meshach, Reshach, and Abednego didn't, right? Which that's not the Hebrew name. I now need to do a little more studying on far as that, and so I remember their Hebrew names. But you know, the three holy children, right? They didn't bow down to it, right? But our leaders, they had us going from what turning away from what they have turned away from where the law, statutes, commandments, the understanding of the scriptures, things that we're supposed to do. Tell you that the Old Testament's done away with, all these different things, right? Leaving moral standards and things like that, where you dress from an old ass lady. I mean, go to Walmart, man. Have you ever been to Walmart? Have you been to the store? I'm talking about from the oldest woman you can see with some type of shorts up in her vagina, and she's walking around. And then you turn around and there's a little fucking, not even 2 years old, some little kid, little girl, basically damn near got the same thing as this old lady. And then from the youngest to the oldest, they all dress like prostitutes. But these are the things where you're supposed to walk around. You gotta respect these people, man, who don't respect themselves. This is insane. They don't respect their children, right? Right? Absolutely absurd, man. And it says, and they have turned us away from mountain, or turned us away on mountains, right? These different governments or different captivities that we lived under. They have gone from mountain to hill, right? From big government to little government, right? Different places, different things, different voting tactics. Let's be the Brown Beret. Let's be the Black Panthers. Let's be Malcolm X. Let's be Martin Luther King. Let's be, you know, these things, you know. Let's be the North American movement. Let's do all these different things. Black Lives Matter. All these things that don't really forward us and don't give us any true hope or help, right? Well, our only hope and our help is in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, right? And they turned us and they have gone from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting place. See, that's what I was trying to tell you. Going back to the Most High, man, that's our resting place. The scriptures, the understanding of it at that will give you rest, man. Right? The Lord said, "Look up, for thy redemption draweth nigh." What they call UFOs, or the chariots of the deliverance of the children of Israel, man. Which now your so-called government, right? The Pentagon has to admit that they're real, that they exist. And it's only since the apostles or since the elders have came out and brought out the truth that these things are the angels. Now they have to admit, man. Right? It says all that found them have devoured them. See, and that's ultimately what this whole voting thing is about. just to make you think that you have a choice. There's things going on and this thing, but if you can vote and have a choice who's going to be the president and why everybody cares about this thing that you're voting for when they've already said that they have already signed everything over to the UN. All power and control is under the UN. So does it matter who's the president? I think not. It don't matter, right? All that found them have devoured them, and their adversaries, which is Esau, Edom, right? The system right here in itself is our adversary. It's our enemy. It's never been for us. It's against us, right? And we offend not because they have sinned against. Yeah, see, that's ultimately what they're saying. Hey, we ain't offending, right? This their mentality. That's Esau, Edom's mentality. Even all these other nations, man, they come to our neighborhood, sell us that halal food, sell us the bad foods, the different things that they do, right? And to them, it ain't their problem. We offend not. That's their mentality. Their adversaries say, we offend not because they have sinned against Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, the habitation of justice, man. Hey, they sinned against their power. They sinned against the one that's supposed to bring them justice, right? It ain't our fault that we're putting pork in everything. It ain't our fault that we're shooting chemtrails over the sky. It ain't our fault we put them in slavery and didn't want to teach them right, and we want to put them in these schools, institutions fit for only a prisoner, man. You set up the school system like prison, and then you don't give them the right books and this and that. But guess what? You can do in prison. The lady said you can get a sex change, no cost to you, only to the public, to the taxpayers. No cost to you, sex change, right? God damn. It says, remove out of the midst of Babylon, which is talking about the elect, right? Because all you jakes ain't going to get it, right? You don't understand. Move out from the midst of Babylon and go forth out of the land of the Chaldeans, which is America, Babylon the Great, and be as the he-goat before the flock, right? And a goat will basically go out and get out amongst from the herd, right? A goat is not necessarily a follower, right? As much as sheep are, right? So it's saying go at and be as the he goat, right? Right? And goats are not followers like that. Not to say that we're not the sheep, because we are the Lord's sheep, right? We're supposed to follow the Lord, but not as far as this society, right? That's what it's saying. Go out as the he goat. Don't follow the society. Do a thing that's different than the society, right? Have enough courage to not follow the flock, right? For lo, I will raise up and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations, which that's happening right now. So you're gonna have Kamala be the president under a time of war. That the Lord is bringing up the Medes, the Persians and the Medes, right? He's raising up the Persians and the Medes all over again to come against this place, man. Right? Which is basically the Medes basically talking Iran, right? Which Russia's gonna back them, right? So you got Gog, the land of Magog, right? Coming up to help them, right? When it says, and I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon, assembly of great nations, right? Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, right? From the North country, right, which is Russia country, and they shall set themselves in array against her, right, against America, Babylon the Great. From thence she shall be taken with arrows, right? The ICBM missiles are going to be taken. So why would you want this person to be president, man, in a time of great danger, right? So shall be as a mighty expert man, and none shall return in vain, right?
In your administration.
Yeah, no surgeries happened in his presidency.
It's in black and white.
Would you still advocate for using taxpayer dollars for gender reassessment
I will
surgeries?
follow the law, just as I think Donald Trump would say he did.
You would have a say as president.
Like I said, I think it's real. He spent $20 million on those ads, trying to create a sense of fear in the voters because he actually has no plan in this election that is about focusing on the needs of the American people. Whereas, at $20 million on that ad, on an issue that, as it relates to the biggest issues that affect the American people, is really quite remote. And again, his policy was no different. Look at where we are, though, $10 to $50,000.
We've heard a lot of transition surgeries
you know what, you got to take
during
responsible for what happened in your administration.
Yeah, no surgeries happened in his presidency.
It's in black and white.
Would you still advocate for using taxpayer dollars for gender reassignment
I will
surgeries?
follow the law, just as I think Donald Trump would say he did.
You would have a say as president.
Like I said, I think it's real. He spent $20 million on those ads.
Okay, so the man asks you a simple yes or no question. Do you support that? Would you do that? Yes or no? It's a simple yes, I will do that, right? Or no, I won't do that. That's all the man was asking you, a yes or no question. I'm gonna follow the law. So that means, whatever that means to you, that's a resounding yes. That means she supports my tax dollars and your tax dollars doing a gender reassignment surgery to inmates. Now, if a person wants to do that with their own dime, they grown, hey, that's your life. Ain't got nothing to do with me. But the taxpayer should not be paying for that. But see, this is why a lot of black people, believe it or not, are saying, yeah, this Democrat Party is too much now. It's way too far left. They so far left you can't even see them to your left anymore, right? They are promoting things that most black Americans, you talk to them, they don't promote. Black Americans in their household don't have those kind of discussions. I'm sorry, they don't. We're talking about the average black American. I'm not talking about some black Americans who are engaging in that kind of behavior or beliefs. That is the minority of black Americans. The majority of black Americans do not engage in that conversation or that belief system. A lot of black Americans, even if they don't go to church, they still have some belief in God, right? Or Allah or whatever they believe in. But and so since we have some sort of faith, right, and we still a faith-based people, even if we don't go to church or not, we still have a lot of faith. That's not something that we, and most fathers don't want their sons to become, Magic Johnson's son. Sorry, most fathers don't, right? Most mothers don't want that either, or their daughters